Part 58. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Hixie. Chapter 571. Chapter 571. Yezikin is the accomplice who killed your grandma. Lee Moore deliberately turned on the speakerphone. Brother Chen, I'm very grateful that you concealed the truth about Mrs. Jiao falling downstairs and Nurse Zhang drugging me, but it's a pity that it seems to be exposed this time. Brother Chen, you must help me. Lee Moore kept crying. Yeah, I heard Yezikin's familiar voice coming from the loudspeaker. Lee Moore, I said, there will be no third time. Brother Chen, help people to the end and send Buddha to the west. If I are caught by Yi, you will be responsible for it. Do you hope that I will accidentally reveal the things you helped me to Yi? Lee Moore suppressed the anger in her heart and the discomfort in her body. She spoke at the same volume as usual, but it was enough for Yi, who was only a door away from her, to hear clearly. Yezikin was silent for a while before asking, "Where are you now?" Lee Moore also expected Yezikin to say a few more words for Yi to hear clearly, but he didn't expect the topic to change so quickly. Lee Moore can no longer resist, so there is no need for another person to join in the fun. Just when she was about to tell her the name of the hotel, Yi suddenly opened the door, snatched her cell phone and hung up the call. Yi, you've gone too far. Lee Moore wanted to pounce on him again. As a result, before Yi could take action, Lee Moore had already taken 2 steps back. She leaned against the wall and pulled on her coat, feeling her whole body heat up and her mind gradually becoming confused. Seeing her taking off her clothes, Pei Yuchen quickly turned his back. Yi stared at Lee Moore coldly and told Pei Yuchen calmly, "It's the cold food powder in her body that has taken effect." "Miss, why did you hang up the phone just now? We can obviously hear more truth." "More truth? Do you think Yezikin is stupid? He may have noticed it when Lee Moore said those 2 sentences. Yezikin is such a smart person and is very sensitive to changes in people's language and expressions. For someone like Lee Moore, the first words she says are sinister and weird, which is her true nature, but if she emphasizes it multiple times, there is definitely something wrong. Yezikin must have noticed it before asking for their address. It seems that Yezikin is an accomplice. Pei Yuchen finally caught Yezikin's handle, which gave him more reason to attack Yezikin. "Miss, we really misjudged the wrong person before." But Yi, who had been calm and rational in taking revenge just now, seemed to have suddenly lost his life. She kept shaking her head in denial. "I don't believe it, I don't believe it. Brother Chen can't possibly help Lee Moore. He also hates Lee Moore. How could he help Lee Moore to harm my grandma?" Yi has always been convinced that Yezikin will not hurt her. It is so rare to have wholehearted trust. How dare she believe Lee Moore's words? She stubbornly believed that Lee Moore was sowing discord, but her reaction before and after listening to the phone call already showed her attitude. At first she didn't have any doubts, but after that phone call, the familiar voice kept lingering in her ears. Pei Yuchen continued, "If he is an accomplice, then he is also the one who killed your grandma. He won't. I believe he is not that kind of person. Grandma has no enmity with him. Why would he help Lee Moore harm grandma? Miss, please recognize the reality, or call Yezikin in person now and confront him to see if he dares to admit the dirty things he has done." End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Hixie. Chapter 572. Chapter 572. I believe him. Convinced. "No, I believe him," Yi replied firmly, clasping his hands together. Lee Moore, half undressed, rushed towards Pei Yuchen and shamelessly shouted, "Brother Chen!" The unprepared Pei Yuchen was suddenly attacked. Before, Yi still had the heart to watch a good show, but now when she heard Lee Moore hugging Pei Yuchen and shouting "Brother Chen" because of hallucinations, she really wanted to punch him. "I thought so, and did it?" Yi held Lee Moore's singlet with one hand and pulled her back, pushing her out. Limor didn't react in time and fell directly to the bed. Ah! Limor is still reacting and knows the pain. The medicinal effect of hanshi powder made her body feel hot and had a short-term hallucinogenic effect. Limor regarded Pei Yuchen as Yezikin, but she still recognized Ye Weiwei's enemy clearly. You are the only one who dares to push me. Hearing Limor point his finger at her and say harsh words, I thought Limor was going to pounce on her as rudely as before, but who knew the next second? Limor simply sat down on the ground and continued to complain, thinking Pei Yuchen was Yezikin. Brother Chen, look at her, look at Ye Weiwei, she pushed me, she is not a weak and well-behaved person, she is violent and vicious, now you should believe what I say. Ye Weiwei really sat there crying. This scene surprised Pei Yuchen and Ye Yi. Pei Yuchen, who was innocently victimized, was so ashamed that he really wanted to find a hole in the ground to crawl into. Ye Weiwei pointed at Limor and said, video her appearance. It cannot be refuted. Pei Yuchen could only pick up his mobile phone and take a picture of Limor's act. Pei Yuchen opened one eye, but still thought it was more pleasing to see Ye Weiwei standing there with his hands folded. Miss, what are we going to do next? In response to Pei Yuchen's question, Ye Weiwei only answered one word, wait. Pei Yuchen frowned at Limor and asked, wait? Do we have to wait here until the effect of Limor's medicine wears off? No, Ye Weiwei sighed and told Pei Yuchen frankly, Yezikin is coming soon. Yezikin, we didn't tell him the address just now. Assistant Pei, what kind of person do you think Yezikin is? He just had a phone call with Limor, and it's easy to find our location. Just in time, we can confront Limor when he comes. Pei Yuchen's certainty that Yezikin was an accomplice made Ye Weiwei feel repulsed. She immediately retorted, I said, I believe him. Pei Yuchen, however, was convinced, misheard Yezikin admit with her own ears that she had helped Limor twice. Don't deceive yourself anymore. Ye Weiwei clenched his fists, and even if he heard it with his own ears, he still firmly believed that Yezikin would not do anything to hurt him. Even if my brother did something, there must be his reasons, and he would not do it intentionally. Hurt me and my family. But these words of defense for Yezikin made Pei Yuchen very unhappy. Pei Yuchen was already dissatisfied with the Ye family, and now he was holding on to Yezikin's handle. Is it because you and Yezikin have a close relationship, miss, that you don't want to have anything to do with his wife's death? Admit it. Both the Ye family and his wife have bad intentions, and I don't think the son they gave birth to will be any better. Pei Yuchen, please stop talking. Sorry, I was impulsive. Dong dong dong. There is a knock on the door. Somebody is coming. The kind side of little Lingdang is, she does what she can for her friends, she may feel pity for strangers, and she is even more paranoid towards those she cares about. But at the same time, she can be ruthless towards her enemies and will never be as cruel as her mother-in-law. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 573. Chapter 573 Unable to be frank. The person standing outside the door was indeed Yezikin. Pei Yuchen immediately put away his cell phone and rushed forward, but Ye Wei opened and closed the door faster than him. Bang bang bang. Pei Yuchen was locked in the house. At this moment, the only person standing outside was face to face with Yezikin. Let's go. Yezikin pulled her into the newly opened room next door and locked the door. Ye Wei stood with her back to the door. She didn't want to believe that she now had the answer. You are here. Yezikin came to him directly, which meant that what Limor said was true. She has a brain and can think, but sometimes she pretends not to know. What she believes now is that Yezikin has a last resort. Yezikin grabbed her arm with both hands and said anxiously as if he was afraid she would run away, "Little Belle, listen to my explanation. There is no such thing as covering your ears and shaking your head saying you don't listen." Yayoi looked at him calmly, as if he was ready to listen carefully. "Okay, I'll listen. I never wanted to hurt your grandma. Why do you want to help Limor?" In fact, Yezikin doesn't know what Limor said to her now, and Yezikin doesn't dare to reveal everything. "Tell me first, what did Limor tell you?" "I won't deny what I have done, but if she is the one who instigates discord, I will definitely explain it to you clearly. Limor said that when we were trying to find out the truth about Grandma falling downstairs that day, it was you who helped cover up the evidence. He also said that you knew about Nurse Zhang's drugging, but you didn't tell me. I don't deny these 2 points. Why? I owe Limor a favor. Helping her hide the truth was a deal. In fact, it's not a favor, it's just to keep Limor silent. Concealing the truth is a favor, but what if you don't report it after knowing it? When I knew that Limor bribed Nurse Zhang to give cold food powder to the wet nurse, it was already too late. I couldn't stop it. If he had known it from the beginning, he would never have allowed Limor to kill Yes only blood relative. But now, what he thinks is that it is better to do less than to do more. Who knows, Ye is the only stubborn person to find out the truth. In fact, he should have thought of this a long time ago, otherwise Ye Wei would not be stubborn in getting back what belongs to Chiao. But, you clearly know that Limor has evil intentions. Why don't you give us a hint? Let that bad woman stay with Grandma. You are so smart, how could you not think that people like Limor can't be kind?" Yezikin narrowed his eyes and said, "I'm sorry, but that's the end of the matter." Yezikin's explanation was unclear. Ye Wei shook his head. "Brother, do you know what has happened? Just now I swore to others that I believed in you. How I wish you wouldn't rush to explain in such a hurry, because that would prove that you have a clear conscience. How I wish you had to explain it out of necessity, but in the end you just let it go." Yezikin couldn't help but increase his strength. "You should know that there are few people in this world worth my time. The only thing I can feel is night. I know that you have always been indifferent to people who have nothing to do with you, but that person is my grandma. You helped Limor, but you killed my grandma's life. Little Belle, I'm sorry. I don't need your apology, brother, I just want a reasonable explanation." "I can't say." "Is it because you can't say it or you dare not say it?" End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 574. Chapter 574. You and I are both paranoid. Brother, you still have something to hide from me, right? Do you owe Limor a favor, or have you been caught by Limor? Who is the only one in the night? King Mei and Yezikin grew up together. Her growth almost all revolves around Yezikin except for her hatred. Even though Yezikin has a deep mind, there is always someone who can figure out his heart. Perhaps there is no need to speculate, you will have a different feeling after just one look. Just like Yezikin, even if he dared not tell the truth in front of Yayoi, it would not be all lies. Brother, we grew up together. If there is anyone who understands you best in this world, it must be me. Although sometimes I get into trouble because of feelings, I get super jealous, and I lack the ability to think. But she can see inside. Just like the last time we had a quarrel, I was afraid that he would be angry, and I didn't like him interacting with other women, so I even broke up with her. But in fact, she knew that Yezikin was just angry, and she also knew that Yezikin had always been protecting her, and she never thought about breaking up. It's the kind of person who, no matter how cold or heartless he looks on the surface, he always believes without any reason in his heart. She always told Yezikin, "I believe in you, from beginning to end, and I am willing to tell you no matter what." Yezikin always told her, "I will take care of it, you don't have to worry." Brother, you've always been like that, hiding things that you think are bad for me, but if you don't say them out, how can you confirm my thoughts? Yezikin insisted on his reasons. I won't harm you. I know she was convinced of this. But she also wanted to say, I am already an adult and have the ability to think of my own. Can you be completely honest with me? Yezikin was silent. Ye Wei approached and asked, Brother, let me ask you again, why? Yezikin raised his eyes and met each other, filled with infinite emotion. Do I have to know the answer? I must know. Yezikin nodded and raised his hand to assure him, if it is true, I believe it. If it is false, I still believe you. She believes it, but that doesn't mean she likes to be deceived. Actually, I knew a long time ago that the granddaughter Mrs. Jiao was looking for when she returned to China was you. But when she mistook her granddaughter for Li Mo'er, I didn't expose the truth. Instead, I wanted the matter to develop naturally. Why? To be honest, I don't want a few more of your relatives to appear in this world, because they all want to take you away from me. That's it? Yes. But Li Mo'er found out about this and used it as a threat to let me hide the truth for her. He did not deceive Yi, he just concealed a deeper secret. Yezikin avoids the important and takes the easy, but every sentence is true. Yezi heard it and felt very uncomfortable. What is she going to say? If Yezikin thought so, she couldn't refute this reason. In this world, not everyone is so kind and selfless. I don't know whether to be happy or disappointed. She and Yezikin are the same kind of people. They are full of paranoia about the people they care about, and they are afraid that others will take away the people they care about, even their relatives. He. She leaned her head against the door, laughing until she wanted to cry. I can't even refute what you said. Laughing and laughing, tears flowed out. We are really the same kind of people. We have done many wrong things because of our own selfishness. Are you devils? End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 575. Chapter 575. Give me back the bell. Do you know how I deal with those who hurt me? I gave Li Mo'er some cold food powder. This is the only time Ye has revealed her dark side in front of Yezikin. She said, those who are against me say that I am bad and that I use my appearance to disguise my ugly heart. But she didn't feel angry at all when she heard those words, because she was not the little fairy that others praised, nor the little lady who others thought was cute and gentle. I'm the kind of person who can't get rid of the dirt in his eyes. He is very petty. If anyone offends me, I will pay them back. Yezikin listened to her words carefully and was not afraid. He asked back, are you telling me this to remind me to prepare for your revenge? Ye Wei shook his head. How could I bear to retaliate against you? It was a mistake for you to conceal the truth, and it was a mistake for you not to report the truth after knowing it. But in the final analysis, it seems that it is all because you care too much about me. This is not coquettishness or confession, but she is telling the truth. The tone is dull and the words have no deep meaning. Yezikin hugged her directly and said, I'm sorry, I never thought of hurting your family. Ye Wei choked up, I believe everything you say. I hope there are no lies. She believes it regardless of whether it is true or false, but no one likes to be deceived. The two are not contradictory, and they truly reflect Ye Wei's tangled heart. She was hesitant and confused, not knowing what attitude to use to face Yezikin. It was Pei Yuchen who called to look for someone. Miss, Li Mo'er has fainted. Wait a minute, I'll be here right away. Ye Wei put away his sobs. Yezikin reached out to wipe the tears from the corners of her eyes, but Ye Wei glanced away without trace, and raised his hand to wipe the tears. She held the handle and opened the door. She turned her back to Yezikin and said, you are at fault, but I am not qualified to blame you. Let's talk about it after I handle Li Mo'er's matter. After Ye Wei left, Yezikin's palms clenched tightly into fists. Ye Wei entered the room where Li Mo'er was, but Pei Yuchen came out. Pei Yuchen met Yezikin standing at the door unexpectedly. The two looked at each other, and Pei Yuchen smiled coolly and said lightly, "What you are relying on now is just Mrs. dependence on you for many years. When these old feelings are exhausted, Miss will sooner or later recognize the coldness of your Ye family." Not to be outdone, Yezikin shot back a sharp look. "We don't need outsiders to worry about our affairs. Young Master Ye is still arrogant." Two men facing each other? Ye Weiwei suddenly opened the door, glanced at the two of them, and said, "Come in," without naming them. Two men walked in. Ye Weiwei said to Pei Yuchen, "Take Li Mo'er to your apartment." Pei Yuchen asked, "What else is Miss going to do? It would be too easy for her to send her directly to the police station." "I have other arrangements." Ye Weiwei no longer concealed himself in front of Yezikin. Before Pei Yuchen could take action, Yezikin took the initiative and asked, "Xiao Lingdang, you can take her to our apartment for your convenience." Pei Yuchen said sarcastically, "Forget it, Master Ye, maybe if we enter your territory, you can just let him go, and we will lose more than we gain." Ye Wei also politely rejected Yezikin and said, "This is a matter of the Jiao family, we can handle it ourselves. Also, could you please give me back my bell? Don't panic. It's understandable that it's difficult to accept it for a while. There are reasons for returning the bell. It doesn't mean that we are severing all ties." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 576. Chapter 576 Yezikin's birthmark. Yezikin returned to Ye's house and took out Ye's only bell bracelet. He took the initiative and said, "I'll deliver the bell to you personally." Ye Weiwei hesitated for a moment, but finally refused. "Okay." Li Mo'er was imprisoned by her. She struggled hard at first, but finally gave up. Ye Weiwei refused to give her food, so she could only argue with words. "Ye Weiwei, you imprisoned me privately, you are also committing a crime." Ye Weiwei suddenly frowned. "Why did I forget this?" Li Mo'er sneered after hearing this. "Humph, since you know, let me go quickly." "Tisk, tisk, tisk, do you really think I'm as stupid as you?" Really unable to stand Li Mo'er's rich performance, Ye Weiwei simply told her the truth. "You secretly came back from abroad. Who can protect you? Madame Ye still thinks that you are happy living with your biological parents abroad. Who can blame you?" Li Mo'er's mouth trembled, pretending to be bold. "I have met my friend. My friend knows that I have returned to China, and she can also testify for me." Ye Weiwei smiled, laughing that she still has such an ignorant and naive side. "Friend? Even you know that money can make all the difference, not to mention that your so-called friend is just because of your identity as Miss Yejia. It's easy to bribe someone like that." Li Mo'er was so angry that she gritted her teeth but was unable to resist. Her hands were tied and she could only yell at the top of her voice, "Ye Weiwei, if you have the ability, sue me. Are you afraid that I will accuse Yezikin of being an accomplice? The matter came out, so that's why they locked me up here and tortured me. Li Mo'er, I advise you not to be stupid. It will do you no good to anger me at this time. If I attack you, I won't be the least bit soft-hearted." Ye Weiwei stretched out his hand and pushed, and Li Mo'er lost his footing and fell to the ground. The door was suddenly pushed open. The two of them looked towards the door at the same time, and saw Yezikin's tall figure standing by the door, holding a small box in his hand. Ye Weiwei didn't know if Yezikin saw the scene where she pushed someone just now, but she subconsciously squeezed her palms. "Is the thing you are holding a bell?" Yezikin nodded slightly. Ye Weiwei walked to the door, stretched out her white hands and asked, "Give me the stuff." Just when Yezikin was about to hand the thing to her, Li Mo'er, who had just gotten up from the ground, ran towards them with all his strength. At the critical moment, Yezikin hugged Yayaiwei to dodge, but accidentally hit the corner of the table. Yezikin kicked Limor out. Ah-dash. This time Limor was rolling on the ground in pain and really couldn't stand up. Yayaiwei ignored the bell and hurriedly pulled Yezikin to look at her. Are you okay? Fine. Yezikin shook his head and handed over the bell box. Yayaiwei didn't answer. She unceremoniously scratched the clothes on Yezikin's back, and it turned red as expected. You said it's okay, I'll take you to apply some medicine. Yezikin said it was okay, but Yayaiwei felt heartbroken. Originally Yezikin really thought that nothing was wrong, but seeing her like this, he immediately acted weak and pretended to be pitiful. It seems to be really painful. Yayaiwei hurriedly ran to Pei Yuchen to get the medicine kit. Pei Yuchen went in with her. Yayaiwei was too anxious and asked Yezikin to lie on the bed without saying a word. He opened half of his clothes and applied medicine to him. Pei Yuchen curled his lips. Putting down his things and wanting to leave, he suddenly caught a glimpse of a crescent-shaped birthmark on Yezikin's waist. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 577. Chapter 577 Putting on the bell bracelet again. Pei Yuchen stood aside and stared at Yezikin's waist. Yezikin's face turned dark. Assistant Pei, one person here is enough. Hey, no one cares about you. Pei Yuchen twitched the corners of his mouth and slammed the door. Yayaiwei focused on applying medicine to Yezikin. In fact, the area hit was not large, but she was very careful and gentle. Does it hurt a lot? Yezikin stupefiedly held back the word it's okay and said a little in conjunction with it. Then I'll be gentler. Apply the ointment with a medical cotton swab in small amounts and repeatedly, and rub it gently on the red mark. At the same time, Yezikin also thought of the danger of this matter, and strictly warned her, if you really want to punish Limor, you must do it under the premise of ensuring your own safety. Yayaiwei threw away the cotton swab and collected the ointment, saying hum softly. She picked up the box that Yezikin had placed next to her just now, opened it and saw her bell bracelet. Yayaiwei took out the bell and shook it gently a few times. The crisp sound of the bell did not shock the ears and was pleasant to hear. But she was very concerned about it. This thing was once worn by Limor. Limor said it himself when he tortured Limor before. But Yezikin quickly answered, I have already dealt with it. At that time, someone mentioned the sound of the bell, but others did not pay attention to it, but he remembered it carefully. Limor's boldness in stealing the bell was exposed, and Yezikin had already dealt with it. However, these words brought up Yezikin's concealment of the truth again. Yezikin decisively changed the subject. How long do you plan to stay here? Yayaiwei shook his head. I don't know. Let's wait until Limor's matter is dealt with. Yezikin hinted crazily, this is not your home. Yayaiwei fiddled with the bell on the bracelet and put it back on her wrist in front of Yezikin. Deliberately brushing aside the topic, she told Yezikin a few words before turning and walking towards the door. I'll go over and see Limor. Yezikin stood up immediately and said, I'll go with you. Yayaiwei turned her back to him and shook her head in refusal. No, she will definitely mention the things you did in my ears again and again when she sees you. Every time I hear it, my emotions will be affected. Limor was locked in the next room and was being watched by Pei Yuchen. After Yayaiwei entered, Pei Yuchen left the room without saying a word. Seeing Limor sitting on the ground with dry lips, Yayaiwei poured a glass of water and handed it to her. When Limor wanted to reach out and take it, Yayaiwei suddenly retracted his hand. Don't be so impatient. Just admit your mistake and I will give you water. Bah, I'm not wrong. Limor said forcefully, if you hadn't locked me up here, how could I accidentally hurt Brother Chen in a fit of anger? So this is all your fault. She was not willing to give in to Yayaiwei. There was only a pop sound, and the water glass was thrown to the ground. "Yeah, I said with an angry look on his face, "Lemur, you are really stubborn. Since you don't know your fault, there is no need to drink the water. Aren't you afraid that I will die here if you don't give me something to eat or drink? You want to drink it, right? It's very good. I'll let you try the taste of hanshi powder." After saying that, regardless of Lemur's expression, Yewaiwei actually made a glass of water with ingredients in front of her. Lemur's hands and feet were now tied, unable to struggle, and Yewaiwei poured a full glass of wine. "Clap your hands and go out as if you are disgusted." Pei Yuchen stood guard outside the door. "Miss, according to those amounts, if you take it twice a day, I'm afraid." Yewaiwei interrupted him with a wave of his hand and told him calmly, "It's just a glass of water." End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 578. Chapter 578, Birthmark from Childhood. Pei Yuchen hesitated again and again, and tentatively said, "Miss, with all due respect, I just saw that Yezikin seems to have a crescent birthmark on his waist." "Yeah, what's wrong?" Yewaiwei responded indifferently, but rather curiously. Pei Yuchen was stunned for a moment, and quickly explained, "I just think this is so funny. You said he usually looks like such a proud person, but who knew he would have such a birthmark on his waist? It's really funny, right? The only black line on the forehead is the only one in the night." When I saw Pei Yuchen with Grandma Chiao before, it was an endorsement of maturity and stability. Now that I have actually met Pei Yuchen, I know that this mature and steady assistant Pei is quite good at telling cold jokes. But at this point she had to give a few words of advice. "Assistant Pei, don't mention the birthmark in front of him." "What, is there any hidden secret?" Assistant Pei has such a rich imagination, my brother just doesn't like to be known." Yezikin is still a bit of a male chauvinist at heart. Although the crescent birthmark is not ugly, Yezikin thinks that a man with a birthmark on his waist is taboo. "Is it a birthmark that has been present since childhood?" "Yes, I have been since I was a child," I answered in the affirmative smoothly. But Yewaiwei always felt that these questions from Pei Yuchen were strange, so he asked curiously, "Why are you suddenly so interested in his birthmark? Aren't you and him very different?" "Well, I'm not interested in his birthmark, I just thought of one thing." "What's up?" "Miss, you actually know a man's body so clearly." Hey Yewaiwei immediately showed a shy look when he mentioned this. "He and I are childhood sweethearts who grew up together." In fact, she still clearly remembers that she was the first to initiate something as embarrassing as taking a shower together. Yezikin has a precocious mind, like a little adult, and doesn't allow anyone to help him take a bath. As a result, Yewaiwei broke into his bathroom one day and got herself soaked. Yezikin had no choice but to help her take a bath. At that time, she saw the birthmark on Yezikin's waist, and deliberately poked it with her finger. Her hand was held by Yezikin, and she was not allowed to mention it again. She was already used to it and didn't find it novel. Pei Yuchen suddenly twitched the corner of his mouth. "My childhood sweethearts cannot be the reason for you to peek at a man's body, miss. Assistant Pei, please think about me. Am I the kind of person who would peek at other people's naked bodies? I saw it openly when we took a shower together when we were kids. I really can't imagine someone like Yezikin taking a bath with a little girl when he was a child." The little good image Yezikin left for Pei Yuchen also collapsed instantly. Yewaiwei waved his hands repeatedly. "Assistant Pei, please stop filling your head. Why are you thinking about a man's birthmark?" Feeling that he had said too much, Yewaiwei waved his hand and changed the subject. "It's best to collect more evidence that Lemur did bad things, and not to spread the news about both sides for the time being." "Okay, I'll make arrangements right away." Pei Yuchen nodded and accepted the order. After seeing Yewaiwei enter the room again, Pei-Yuchen took a few more glances at Yezikin on the pretext of taking the medicine box. After leaving, Pei-Yuchen frowned and looked far away. No, he had to verify the crescent birthmark before he could feel at ease. If Brother Chen has another identity, then he is not from the Ye family. There will be a Dragon Boat Festival event tomorrow, Kaibao people, please pay attention. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 579. Chapter 579. The police come to the door. Yi Chen, how are things going with Chiao Chiao? Mr. Chiao occasionally asked Pei-Yuchen about Yayouwei's situation. However, at Yayouwei's signal, Pei-Yuchen kept it secret and said, "We have found the person related to Madame's death, and we will tell you after we have truly found out." Pei-Yuchen, who did not report the knowledge, felt uneasy. Yayouwei sighed helplessly, "If you tell Grandpa now that it was Li Mo who did it, he will definitely rush over in a hurry. When I take her to the police station, the truth will be revealed." Yayouwei was right, that's why Pei-Yuchen was so cooperative. But there is still a thorn in Pei-Yuchen's heart that cannot be removed, and that is Yezikin. "Miss, what are you going to do about Yezikin?" Yayouwei pursed her lips and remained silent. Pei-Yuchen thought about the crescent birthmark again and relaxed. "Okay, let's put this matter aside for now." But he put another important thing on the agenda: the spring festival will be in 1 week. Although my husband often lives abroad, he still insists on celebrating the spring festival every year. Will Miss go there this year? Going to Grandpa's place to celebrate the spring festival, Yayouwei knocked on his head, feeling that he had been worried about so many things recently that he even forgot about the new year. Pei-Yuchen nodded, "I think sir will be happy to see the lady." Remembering that he had promised to treat Mr. Chiao as a relative, his retort finally changed to, "I will arrange the time. Most of her friends are in city s. If she wants to spend the spring festival with Mr. Chiao, she will be delayed for several days." She slapped her head and sighed irritably, as if she was beginning to regret growing up. In the room, Li Moer's hands and feet were restrained but still restless. She looked around for a sharp weapon, but even though she was used to the method of breaking cups and cutting ropes in TV dramas, she didn't dare to actually do it. Because there is a sound when a cup is broken. But Li Moer couldn't shed tears without seeing the coffin, and always felt that Yayouwei didn't dare to do anything to her. So every time Yayouwei went in to see her, she would yell and question angrily, "Yayouwei, how long do you want to keep me locked up? If you don't let me out, someone will contact me as the new year is approaching." Even though he is not as arrogant as before, he is not willing to bow to Yayouwei. But at this time, Yayouwei was not irritated by her anymore, nor was she sarcastic. Yayouwei smiled faintly and said softly, "You are right, don't worry, you will leave this place soon." The sudden kind words made Li Moer feel uneasy. "Are you so kind?" Yayouwei walked straight over and untied the rope for her, leaving it aside. He stood by with a calm expression and said to Li Moer, "Let's go." Li Moer refused to believe Yayouwei's good intentions, but he didn't want to stay in this ghost place for a moment. No matter what Yayouwei has in mind, Li Moer just wants to escape now. She ran out of the apartment smoothly and took a taxi on the way back to Yejia. Because Li Moer had a plan in mind at the moment, she thought, as long as she told Madame Ye that Yezikin was an accomplice, Madame Ye would definitely help to protect her son. Li Moer returned to Ye's house, but Mrs. Ye was not there. Li Moer had a restful sleep. Early the next morning, Li Moer was woken up directly. As soon as she opened the door, she was caught by several uniformed policemen. "Li Moer, someone reported that you were related to a man-made accident. Please come with us to be investigated. Dragon Boat Festival benefits, Please read the book review section for details, be sure to read it. 1. As of 2300 hours on the 18th of this month, the top 10 in the monthly fan list will each receive a Dragon Boat Festival red envelope. 2. As of 2300 hours on the 30th of this month, anyone who hits the last 5 on the tipping floor can get a red envelope. For example, 775, 785. A person who receives red envelopes more than 7 times can receive a physical gift. 3. From the 15th to the 18th of this month, there will be a question and answer activity in Chapter 5, which is updated every day, and the answers will be announced in Chapter 6 the next day. The first book friend with the correct answer will receive book coins. Please pay attention to the update on the Dragon Boat Festival for details. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Hixie. Chapter 580. Chapter 580, Different Treatment Between Miss Wei and Miss Mower. You are talking nonsense. I am not going to the police station. I am Miss Yejia. Lee Mower turned his back on the spot and wanted to hide back in the room. Mower, I hope you remember clearly that my surname is Lee and not Ye. At this moment, Mrs. Ye came out from the side, and the sound of every word struck Lee Mower's heart. Lee Mower quickly ran over and took Madam Ye's hand. Mother Ye, what are you talking about? I am the daughter of the Ye family and your daughter. I am Ye Mower, not Lee Mower. The Lee family is far behind the Ye family, so Lee Mower is reluctant to give up the surname Ye. But just because she looked at him eagerly didn't mean that Madam Ye was still willing to give. Mrs. Ye directly pushed her hand away, fearing that she would be alienated from her. Mower, you remember wrong, you have nothing to do with our Ye family. You had divorced your biological parents half a month ago. Go home, have you forgotten? Lee Mower didn't give up and grabbed Madam Ye's arm again. Mother Ye, I was just going there to play, you clearly know that. That's enough. If you do something wrong, don't bring trouble to our Ye family. Madam Ye directly interrupted Lee Mower's explanation. Humph. Madam Ye snorted coldly and faced the police directly to communicate. Everyone, since someone has committed a crime here, my Ye family will never tolerate adultery. You should take this person away, lest others say that my Ye family has a bad reputation. Clear. Mrs. Ye kept her relationship with Lee Mower clean. No one in the Ye family was willing to help Lee Mower, and she was taken away by the police in full view of everyone. The police disappeared at the door of Ye's house. Mrs. Ye picked up a cup of herbal tea and sat on the sofa, unaware that winter herbal tea was cold and chilly. The housekeeper who had watched the whole process in the corner came out of the corner and said, Madam, you just asked me to find someone to rearrange Miss Mower's room. The workers are already here. Let them start working. I don't want to see traces of her life in this villa. Yes. The housekeeper took 2 capable servants at home and workers hired from outside to deal with the room that once belonged to Lee Mower. One of the servants, A, who had been staying in the Ye family for a long time, quietly chatted with the people next to him. There have been 2 adopted daughters in the Ye family. The room of the only lady who was hated by the madam at the beginning is exactly the same as before. This satisfied the madam before. Miss Mower just left, and the room behind her was demolished. Don't you think it's strange? Servant B immediately answered, how can Miss Mower compare with Miss Yi? Miss Yi has been growing up by madam's side. Sir is kind to Miss Yue, and the young master is even more caring. The housekeeper held his throat and coughed twice, seeing through the situation without telling the truth. It's not our turn to question the master's affairs. The decoration of the room is brand new. Lee Mower has lived in Yejia for many years, so it is inevitable that some things will be left behind in places like the hall. The housekeeper and 2 servants searched carefully. Servant A found a 5-pointed glass bottle in the corner. The glass bottle contains colorful glass balls. Hold it up and look at the sun. The crystal clear glass ball shines brightly in the bottle, which is very beautiful. Servant A didn't know who this thing belonged to. Excluding Ye Hantian and Madam Ye, Yezikin never played with such things. Servanta was about to take it and ask, but accidentally slipped and dropped the glass bottle, and the beads inside were scattered on the ground. Unexpectedly, Madame Ye suddenly lost her temper. Who told you to touch that thing? Guess, whose glass beads are these? End of this chapter.